Hey everybody, welcome back into another episode of 100 Essential Jazz Standards That You Should Know. Today we're going to talk about one of my favorite tunes and maybe the most difficult tune on the list to date, Have You Met Miss Jones? So this is a jazz standard that I play all the time, a tune that gets called very, very often on gigs and jam sessions. So this is an absolute must-know jazz standard. Typically, I hear this tune played a lot at faster tempos, but as I'm going to mention from some of my favorite recordings, this tune is played at many, many different tempos and fits well into a lot of different styles. A very flexible tune that you can play in all kinds of different ways. So one thing I want to start doing on these videos before we jump into the analysis is talking about a couple of my favorite recordings of the tune that we're going over in the particular episode. I think that might give you a little direction on where you can go when you start to learn this. I am a big fan of listening to a bunch of different versions of the tune that I'm about to learn, just so I can get things into my ears and have a conception of the tune before I sit down and actually try to learn it. So for this particular tune, a couple of my favorite recordings. The first one is by a Boston-based saxophonist, George Garzone. He is playing with the legendary saxophonist Joe Lovano on an album called Fours and Twos. And I love this version both because I love both of their saxophone playing, but there's an awesome counter line that George Garzone wrote. So while the melody's being played, there's this really wild counter line going on in the background that I just really dig. So that would be my first choice on versions to listen to. The second one would be Ella Fitzgerald singing it, if you want to get the lyrics in your ears, which is always really valuable, especially if you're an instrumentalist. It helps you with phrasing the melody. Check out Ella's version. Fantastic, just like everything from Ella Fitzgerald. Another version I really love is Kenny Garrett's recording of it. He plays it at a really medium to slow tempo, and it's a different interpretation than a lot of the other versions on the list. And the final one for all you guitar fans out there is Tal Farlow's version of this. This is one of my favorites, really up-tempo swinging, and Tal's playing is just fantastic. Now I know that there are dozens of other recordings out there. Those are just the ones that I really enjoy and helped me learn this tune. So without any further ado, let's jump into the analysis of the chord changes. Things get a little bit squirrely on the bridge, but we're going to break it all down for you. All right, let's dive into the analysis here. So the first thing to notice is that it is a 32 bar form. Most people would say that this tune is A, B, A. But if we really think about it, it's really A, B, C, D, because the changes are slightly different. So whether you want to think about it as AABA or ABCD, doesn't really matter to me, but we're going to be talking about all the differences between these 8-bar sections, and we are going to call this the bridge. Okay, so the tune is in F major, and the A, B, and D sections are relatively similar with small changes. So let's talk about the first 8 bars. So first we have a 1 chord. That goes up to the sharp 1 diminished. Goes up to the 2 chord. 5 chord. Now we jump to the 3. And then we go to the 6. 2, 5. So everything stays in the key of F. And one interesting thing is that the 6 chord in this tune is actually the true 6. It's not the 5 of 5. A lot of time what we see is this is a D7 chord, but in this tune it's D minor 7. But this is about as straightforward as it gets. This sharp 1 diminished is acting as a passing chord between the 1 and the 2. And everything else is pretty straightforward, not much else to say about it. Okay, so now let's jump down to this next 8-bar section. Starts off the same way. The first 6 measures are exactly the same. So we have the 1 again, sharp 1 diminished, passing chord, going up to 2, and then to 5. And then we have the 3 again, to the 6. And now here's where things change. What we are going to do is the first chord in the bridge is going to be a B flat major chord, and we're going to start that modulation in the last 2 measures of this section. So we have a 2, 5 in the key of B flat. So let me start in measure 13 again. 3, 6, Now we do the 2 of B flat to the 5 of B flat, and then we modulate to the key of B flat. Okay, so now that we are into this C section, or the bridge, I like to call it the bridge, we look at the fact that we're modulating all over the place. If you look at the color coding, you will notice that we're kind of moving to a lot of different keys here. We're going from the key of B flat to the key of G flat to the key of D to the key of G flat, and then we're coming back to the key of F to get us into the last 8 bars of the tune. So a lot of you might notice this pattern, B flat to G flat to D. What this is doing is it's modulating through keys by moving down a major third. Down a major third from B flat is G flat, down a major third from G flat is D. And what this is giant steps changes. This is the exact same chord progression that John Coltrane used in Giant Steps, and it's prepared in a bit of a different way. But you'll hear it if I go from B flat down to G flat, down to D, you can hear it has the same vibe as Giant Steps. Now, what they're doing in this tune is preparing each key with a 2-5-1 in the key that it's moving to. So a cadence in the key that we're going to. So 2-5 to G flat, 2-5 to D, then we have a 2-5 back to G flat, and then we have a 2-5 that's going to lead us back to F. So this is what it sounds like all together. B flat. Now we're going to modulate down to G flat. Then we're going to modulate down to D. Modulate back to G flat. And then we start our modulation to get us to the last 8 bars. Then we're back to F. Okay, let's hear that one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can imagine that's going to be pretty hard to play over, especially if you're playing this tune at a fast tempo. So that's the part of the tune that you're really going to have to study. All right, let's finish things out. So the last 8 bars should look pretty familiar. We've got the 1 to the sharp 1 diminished to the 2. Now we do this cool thing where he goes to the 5 and then moves down to the 4, which leads us to the 3. So that's a little bit different, but I love that chord change. And then the way that this ends is the way that a lot of tunes end, is with the 3-6-2-5-1 progression to put kind of a sense of finality on the tune. 3, 6, 2, 5, 1, and then we play a 2-5 to get us back to the top of the tune. So that's it. Pretty straightforward, but that bridge, that's really going to require a lot of work. If you have any questions on this progression, please ask them in the comments below. And now let's move on to the etude that I've prepared for you. All right, hopefully you enjoyed that episode and you feel like you can go forth and learn this tune. This would be a great one to have in your pocket so you can call it on gigs, or when somebody else calls it on gigs, you don't get freaked out and, I can't play over that bridge. That's really the spot that you're going to have to focus on in this particular standard to learn those changes that go to all those disparate keys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can grab the etude and the analysis sheet by clicking on the link below. If you don't feel like doing that just yet, once we get through 10 of these episodes, I am going to put 10 of the first standards into a package and sell that as an ebook. If you enjoyed this video and you enjoy what we're trying to do here on the channel, please drop us a like. That really, really does help to get this video out to more people just like you that are looking for these types of instructional videos. This is the kind of stuff we do on the channel, so if you dig it, consider subscribing and turning on those notifications. That means you'll never miss a video from Nick's Saxophone World. And most of all, I just want to thank you so much for watching, and we'll be back soon with another one on our list of 100 jazz standards. Hope you're doing well out there, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.